Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Spotify Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Usen over there. And I am going to forewarn now, because I think it is only fair to tell you that it may be more of an angry show than normal. Could be. We'll see. And I'm just trying to be transparent here. I'm working on like 3 hours of sleep. And I'm telling you, from the rest of my day, has not gone great. I have less patience than normal, and I already don't have a lot. So just heads up. If you're like, boy, Sparky seems angry today. Yeah, well, now you know why. So I'm just trying to be honest. Yes.
It feels nice as a Bears fan to be happy 2 straight weeks in a row, while Packers fans are mad 2 straight weeks in a row.
Yeah.
It's a nice feeling.
Exactly. I understand that. You should be happy. You won on a block kick yesterday against the Raiders, and that's fine. Packers score 40 points and can't get the damn win. Damn near lost it.
Right.
I mean, they were a second away from losing that game last night. And seriously, if the DB just tips it up in the air, just a little bit, the ball goes up in the air and falls down, that second ticks off, and they don't even get a field goal attempt. You imagine how mad people would be at Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love today?
They still already are mad at Matt LaFleur today.
Had that gone down last night that way? Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, Mason Crosby. I texted Mason Crosby after the show. I said, man, that was a great show right there. That is the most emotional 2 hours I've ever heard from Mason Crosby. I mean, that dude was fired up today with what happened in that game yesterday. And again, part of it is, right, he played for the Packers. He doesn't work for the Packers, but he played for them. And he wants to see them do well. He was a kicker. How long do you watch field goal kicks get blocked before, as a kicker, you start to get mad? I mean, I don't know what Brandon McManus is saying behind the scenes, but he must be a saint at this point, because he has not called anybody out yet publicly. But we have a repeat offender. His name is Luke Musgrave, yet again. We'll get more into Rich Bisaccia and how long he's going to have a job. We'll get into that coming up at 3 o'clock. We are guest-free on a Green and Gold Monday. Guest-free, I tell you. Tomorrow, we'll have Pete Doherty from the Green Bay Press-Gazette at 2:40 tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to talking to Pete Doherty. All the beat writers, I think, are all on the same flight coming home this afternoon. So he's not available. Ryan Wood's not available. All these guys are all on the same flight. So we'll have Pete Doherty, 2:40 tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Bucks Media Day was today. I'm not doing a Bucks topic. However, Charlie clued me in and said Charlie's sounds of the day at 3:40 will be clips from Bucks Media Day. So while you may not hear a specific topic, we will talk about Bucks Media Day at 3:40 during Charlie's sounds of the day. Headline from that today, I believe, is Giannis has COVID, and he'll be available at some point. But again, this is not like when we first found out about COVID and we're like, oh my God, something bad's going to horrible happen. I think Giannis will be okay. So if we should be good there with Giannis in a couple of days. Better to happen now than in a playoff series or something crazy like that. So last night on the postgame show, Tommy Wirtz and I were doing it. I was hot. We went for 2 hours. I was angry the entire time. And Tommy Wirtz, to his credit, was doing his best to try and help. Like, Sparky, they got to win. It's not like they lost. They didn't. No, he goes, they got a tie. It's not like they lost. Like 2-1 and 1 is better than 2-2 like the Bears, right? You're still better than the Bears. It's like, yeah, okay. Technically, you're right. Technically, Tommy, that is correct. But that emotionally did not feel like, I don't know what a tie is even supposed to feel like. So let's start there. But from a Packer fan standpoint, that felt like a loss. From a Cowboy fan standpoint, I'm sure that felt like a win. But guys, They had the lead on the Packers, 3 times there in the second half? And the Packers just kept coming back. And I failed last night to give them a lot of credit for it. I think we had a talking text line text that came in on the Nicolay Law talking text line that said something like that. We read it. I was like, that's a good point. That's positive. But that was about the extent of our conversation about that. So they do deserve a little pat on the butt for fighting back, not getting discouraged. I don't want to say something crazy that later people are going to be like, I can't believe you said that, you idiot. Da, 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 da. And it goes viral and everybody gets mad at me.
If you need to get something off your chest, Sparky, you got to get something off your chest.
No, I want to do this. I want to do this question. I said last night we were doing the question at 2:00. I put it in the live liners for Tommy and Mason to read in their show. Recorded promo had it as well. This is the question. I just want you to be honest. I don't want you to tell me, well, I hope this happens or whatever. Just as it sits right now, how good do you think this Packers team really is after the last 2 weeks? How good do you really think they are? You beat the Lions, and everybody's like, whoa, the Lions. Okay. Well, the Packers are going to be Super Bowl favorites. You beat Washington. Yeah. Packers may not lose a game in week 7 or week 8. Defense, dominant. Then you get Cleveland. Defense, dominant. You get horrible things happening in a matter of 30-some seconds, and you end up losing the football game to a Browns team, then gets smacked around from one side of the field to the other by the Lions this week. You play the Cowboys in prime time. And that offense smacked you around from one side of the field to the other for 3 quarters. The way that first half ended, holy hell. That you could not have it come up with a worse ending for the Green Bay Packers to end the first half of that game, right?
Yeah, I think watching that first half, the end of the first half, me and my friends were out watching the game. We looked down for half a second. It was, how did the Cowboys get the ball back? It was like, oh, that fumble that took 2 seconds gave them the ball back. They went back and just immediately went down and scored it pretty easily against what was supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league, a defense that we were really excited about this season. And now all of a sudden, like last week, when you're going up against the Cleveland Browns team, who's one of the best defenses in the league, your offense struggles. This week, you're going up against one of the best offenses in the league statistically, according to PFF. They're the number 4 offense in the league in Dallas. And you struggled there too. How top of a team are you if you're going to struggle against other top teams in those facets of the game?
That's correct. Yes. So the question is this. How good do you think they are? That's all. There's not a right answer. There's not a wrong answer. I just want to have a conversation. Where are we all at mentally right now with this football team going into a bye week at 2-1-1? Now, this team could have tied the Lions, lost to Washington, beat Cleveland, beat Dallas. You're 2-1-1, and it feels completely different, right? If you tie the Lions, lose to Washington, and then beat Cleveland, beat Dallas, you've won 2 in a row, going in the bye, we're all feeling good about ourselves. Okay. Didn't go the way we wanted the first 2 weeks, but we beat the 2 teams we're supposed to. We're still in pretty good shape. That's what we would be talking about today. But instead, it went the exact opposite reverse, and it feels like the world is ending. That's what it feels like. How good do you think this team is? Are they still Super Bowl contenders in your mind? Are they still a team that has to be contended within the NFC to get to the Super Bowl? Are they a home field team still in the playoffs? Is this still a 12-13 win team in your mind? Was all that changed after the last 2 weeks for you as a fan? Some will hold strong and refuse to change opinion. Others will jump off of a cliff and go, they may only win 6 games. It's going to be tough. Just how good do you think this Packers team is? Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a voice message on the Odyssey app. Find us on YouTube, streaming that bad boy live. Take part in the Dugout chat as well. Charlie will read those comments there. Search The Fan Milwaukee. The Fan Milwaukee. Trell, Northside, you're first up here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Just how good do you think this team is now?
How you doing, Sparky? Excellent question. I still believe the same thing I believed about them at the beginning of the season, but now I think they still have to do something during the trade deadline if they're really trying to go for it, like the Michael Parsons move, pointing me in that direction that they're really thinking they got an opportunity to do it. So this is my thing. Offensively, as long as is his name Monk? Is that Monk? The offensive lineman, as long as he's not going to be out like for the season or something, I think offensively they're going to get better as the season goes along, and I think that bodes well for them. The thing that I'm really having a hard time convincing myself about is the defensive line, and this is the reason why I had an issue because I think when you traded Kenny Clark, even though I'm all for doing it, I think you're like kind of thin there, and if there's an injury to Wyatt like there was, I think they don't have the capable guys there that if a team just wants to run at them directionally, they're going to have success. And that's kind of what happened yesterday. So I think they need to get a veteran, someone who can kind of help this locker room because it is a little immature and it's a lot of young players, so that's expected. And I think that's the thing that's pointing out the most is that we got a young roster, which is still a lot of immaturity. And I thought LaFleur had coached long enough that he would be able to kind of corral that in. But as of right now, he hasn't been able to. Not saying he won't change it as the season goes along, but so far he hasn't been able to. So I would like them to trade for maybe an older guy, Calais Campbell, or somebody who can get in the middle of the defense to kind of protect us if we do have an injury to one of our young defensive tackles, inside players, and also to provide some type of balance for all those young players up in there. Because, I mean, if we're going to get shell-shocked in the playoffs, depending on the elements, depending on where we're playing, depending on if something doesn't go right for us, that's not going to bode well for a team that's going to the Super Bowl because you got to be able to face adversity and get over it. So that's something that I see that I didn't think would be an issue coming into the season. I still believe the talent oozes out of this team, that they got the talent to still be considered a Super Bowl contender. I just think they got to fix a few things around the edges a little bit. So that's where I'm at on it.
All right, Terrell, thanks for the call. As far as Monk goes, he's out with that hamstring. He's eligible to return in week 6, which would be the next football game the Packers play. He'd be eligible to come off of the IL and play against the Bengals. Maybe I'm nuts, but based on how we used him last year, it doesn't feel like they're big believers in Monk as much as Charlie is.
No, not really. And honestly, since last season, in the preseason this year, I kind of cooled down on him a little bit even. He just didn't feel like he was taking that next step like we're talking about here. And like the Packers, I think, are thinking with him as well. And with a player like that, when there are so many opportunities on the offensive line right now to get an opportunity and to be on the field and to be injured, and then before being injured, not play well enough to at least get an opportunity here. Like, I don't think they're putting him in over a Jordan Morgan. I don't think they're putting him in over a Darian Kennard and moving guys around to get him in on the interior of the offensive line. Doesn't really seem like he fits in at all. So I'm starting to cool down on him even a little bit. I still really like, and I think he has a bright future. But as I'm seeing right now, he doesn't excite me. And with the rest of this offensive line, it's hard for him to want to excite me when he already didn't fit in that group.
Well, see, this is the thing. And we talked about this last week. I talked about it again last night. It's only what, second-year player? Hey, you had Kennard out there right tackle, 4th year. Okay, good. But these other cats that we're talking about coming in and having to play for guys, that's a problem. And furthermore, what kind of alternatives do we have here? So Are you going to talk about Monk going in and playing center? And then Jenkins slides over
But then you have to move Jenkins again, which I don't really think you want to do that much.
Well, center's not working out so pretty right
He
now.
was the best offensive lineman yesterday. According to the stats, he had 0 pressures allowed. According to Rasheed Walker's, he had 5. Look at the other side. Darian Kennard had 5.
Mm-hmm.
Guards have both had 4 in that game. I mean, he was the only one that was clean last night.
But going back to, again, what we were talking about, if Jenkins is better off at the guard position, Banks is 6'6". And I realize he is playing guard right now. Well, he's not playing anything because he can't stay healthy. But if that's an opportunity to get Monk in there, if Jenkins is a better option than Jordan Morgan, do you consider going that way? Or playing Monk at guard next to Jenkins? That's another opportunity. The tackle positions are a big problem. And Rasheed Walker, hey, man, I know you know, but in case you don't know what you should know, they're looking to take that job away from you, son. So you better figure it out, because otherwise, before you know it, you're going to be out there watching Jordan Morgan play left tackle. And that's going to be the end of you playing left tackle for the Green Bay Packers, and you'll end up playing left tackle somewhere else next year. You got to know he knows, right? I have to. How good do you think this Packers team is after their last 2 games? Nicolay Law Fan Talk at text line 414-677-1250. Let's go to Tony in Sussex. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's here on the Fan. What's up, Tony?
Hey, Sparky. I was just lit up last night, and I text with my 3 nephews, okay, and we were just all going back and forth. Well, and upset, but the way, kind of calming down and kind of taking a look at it. To me, I see it 2 ways. First of all, every team's got their hiccups. Maybe the defense was reading some of those press clippings a little bit. That could play into it. And they just had a bad game. I don't know what Valentine was doing out there, but I thought he was terrible. Whenever he was out there, he was over pursuing things like that. But also, one thing to me that was even the biggest factor that I thought was, for the last few weeks, the Dallas Cowboy defense has been getting just beat up by the press,
right?
Humiliated. You guys stink, this and that. I mean, these guys are pros. They got pride. They got pride too. So I think they just said, hey, enough's enough. We're going to give these guys all we have. And the coaches got together too, because they all been getting beat up. I got friends that are big Cowboy fans, and that's all they've been talking about. I mean, they, and the press down there all week. So, hey, if the Packers were on their game, but, they were on their game when it came to the offense, I thought, he scored 40 points.
Yeah.
At the end, I didn't agree what was going on. But I'm talking about defense. Weren't they ranked like number 4?
They were one of the best. Yes, they were one of the best defenses. In fact, I saw a podcast with Mike Renner, who we've had on the show before. He used to be with Pro Football Focus, and the podcast is the Cowboys expose a fatal flaw for the Packers, right? As far as running against them, I look back, man, they gave up less than 100 yards in all 3 games this year rushing. Up until this game was the first time they gave up more than 100. I'd hardly say it's a fatal flaw. It's not like for 4 weeks they've been ran against. It's one game. And Devontae White got hurt in that game, and then the whole thing changed, which nobody saw coming.
I mean, I don't think you're going to see this all year from Dallas.
Tony, you're breaking up. Tony, you're breaking up. I got to let you roll, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, he was coming in and out.
The Packers
Tony
are currently ranked the 3rd best defense according to PFF grades there. They have a 79.2 grade, but their run defense is down at 13 right now.
Because of one game.
Well, that's over 4 weeks. That's compiled over 4 weeks.
I understand that, but I promise you, through 3 weeks, not even giving up 100 yards total to anybody through the first 3 weeks, I bet you they were first after week 3. First or second, I bet you after week 3 would be my guess. Without, obviously looking at Pro Football Focus one way or the other. Everybody always has a favorite play from a game that you get really excited about. This was my favorite play for the game. This one right here.
3rd and 2 with 4 coming. Love slides through the opening, takes off, has the first down. There's a flag down in the secondary as Love is brought down right around the 36-yard line. It's a big gain of 26 if it holds up.
By far, my most favorite play of this game was Jordan Love running 26 yards and flipping the field on the Cowboys on a run, folks. Now, all the RPOs they were running and stuff like that, I saw Peter Bukowski complaining from the Leap newsletter about all the RPOs. He's had his fill. Like, just let him go, drop back, and sling the thing. Don't worry about these dumb RPOs that you want to keep running. But the idea that they or somebody has made up their minds that they want him to run the football more than he has in the past. That is a big deal. Because if you get to every week on tape, when the other defenses are looking at tape, he's breaking off 10, 15, 20, 25-yard runs. That now is going to make them think twice about doing different things on defense because they don't want Jordan Love to take off running. The last 2 years, nobody was worried about Jordan Love running because it didn't matter how much grass you put in front of him, he wasn't going to run. Now he's healthy. He looks a little quick out there when he has to go. That's a big element for this offense that they really didn't have the last 2 years. So if you're looking at, let's take away positives, that's a positive. Through 4 weeks, Jordan Love running the ball more and being willing to, run over a dude already once this year, but take off upfield, that's a big positive for this Packers team.
It is huge. It really adds that extra dynamic to this Packers group that I think you really need right now. Again, I think for the past couple of years, we've given a lot more credit to the wide receiver group that I think they really, truly deserve. And when these guys are starting to show us that, you need to start giving them the opportunity to do that. When Matthew Golden has a good game like we saw yesterday, right, you need to start opening up the offense around that to give him more opportunities to have those good games. Also, through the first 3 weeks, the Packers had a 68.3 run defense grade, which would have put them at 11th in the league instead of 13th.
Oh, this isn't yards. This is just them
overall
watching
run defense
tape.
grade.
Right,
yes.
the Pro Football Focus guys that sit around and watch tape and do that stuff. Right. I'd like to know where they were yards allowed going into that after week 3, because I bet you, I can't imagine there were many teams better than them run defense-wise. And again, the Devontae Wyatt aspect really didn't talk about. I haven't answered the question yet, and I want to read a couple of these. Nikolay Lafan talking text line text as well. Bear and Beaver Dam. It's week 4. I'll hold my thoughts till after the bye. They have the talent to be contenders, but the coaching has to be better. A lot of people mad at Matt LaFleur. I saw one account that I follow earlier today. What's his name? Bruce Irons, I think is the account. Asking, should the Packers fire Matt LaFleur? That was the poll question. I couldn't believe it. People want Matt LaFleur fired now? Now we want Matt LaFleur fired? We'll talk more about that coming up at 4:20. Nate from the north side says, honestly, might be middle of the pack, mainly because they aren't disciplined and the head coach still doesn't know how to lead his first team. They're still a playoff team, but not up there with the Eagles and Bills. With all due respect, I'm not on the Buffalo bandwagon because their defense has looked shoddier than the Packers have multiple times so far. The Packers have had a bad game. The Bills have given up a bunch of points multiple times. So I'm not there with them. Eagles, fine. Other than their offense is trying to figure out how to get going here because everybody's lining up to stop Saquon. And if you got Saquon in fantasy, you're probably slamming your head against the table. But they'll figure it out. Sirianni's not a moron, even though some think he is. He'll figure it out, and that offense will start clicking again, and they'll be fine. But I definitely think there is Philly, and now there is a gap after seeing what happened to Green Bay. Now, this might be the only time all year that they have these many points given up. You may say after the bye week, Packers may go on a run, not give up more than 10 points for 7 or 8 straight weeks. Who knows how dominant this thing will look? But there was a lot of questions that came out of this game. Coming up next, how much do you think Micah's return to Dallas factored into the results of this game? Jerry Jones talking last night, Micah talking last night, crowd cheering "Go Pack Go" at their stadium for Jerry to hear all night long. Lots of Packer fans taking over that stadium. Get to that coming up. Sports Talk on the Fan is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We continue to talk about the Packers and Cowboys tying at 40 last night. Let's talk about the Micah impact straight ahead. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. This guy right here, we were expecting big things from yesterday. Well, at least we got this.
Left side of the defensive line, right on the hash mark, closest to you. Dak, play fake, looking. Here's Parsons chasing. Dak taking off. Parsons gets him. He comes out. He's down by contact. That is no gain. Could technically be called a sack, depending on how the statisticians deem it. Either way, it's third down.
It doesn't matter what it is. It is a touchdown saving play by Micah Parsons.
Yeah, he chased him down from behind, pulled him down before he could get into the end zone. That was ruled a sack. That was the only sack of the game for the Green Bay Packers. That was all. Do you know how many tackle for losses they had in that game? Sacks don't count for tackle for losses.
How many?
1.
That's kind of unfortunate.
Quay Walker. 1. That's it. I mean, with all due respect to everybody involved here, like you must do better than that against any football team. I don't care if it's the Cowboys and Micah Parsons return or if it's anybody else you want to talk about. That has to be done at a higher level defensively. He had too much time, Dak Prescott did, to throw in that football game. Too much. Jordan Love, not enough. Dak Prescott, too much. Now, after the game, Micah was asked about coming back and playing against the Dallas Cowboys.
All in all, the emotions for me being in Dallas went away the moment they traded me. I think, I even told DY, I said, understanding, the people that you're around. Like when Goody told me that he was trading for me, he said, let me call Kenny before it breaks. The importance of the organization and that, like, I didn't even get to talk to my owner, the person that drafted me. I found out through my agent. Like, I just feel like, so to me, that emotion side was pointless because the same way he called me in his office as a man, he couldn't tell me as a man. So to me, that emotion side was gone. It was more about a respect factor at this point.
Okay, so let's go over a couple different things here, shall we? Okay. This is quite a bit different than what Brian Gutekunst was involved in, right? Kenny Clark, I don't think, maybe he did, realize that he was being actively shopped and could be traded at any moment. I don't think he realized that necessarily. The Micah Parsons deal, Mulgada and him knew that they were going to get him to go somewhere. And Jerry Jones was livid at the whole situation of how it all played out. He thought he had a deal done with Micah Parsons. Then Parsons bailed on it because his agent was mad that he wasn't involved in making the deal and hurt his ego, whatever you want to call it. So he got back involved and then asked for the moon for Micah Parsons. Jerry said, absolutely not doing that. So, yeah. Jerry was bitter and feeling in his emotions, all up in his emotions about that whole thing. So no, he ain't going to call you. He thought you and him were good when he was doing this deal. Now, again, he knew what he was doing was wrong, as they call it hotboxing. Doing the deal with you and not the agent, he knew what he was doing was wrong. But at that point, you were his guy because you were dealing with him and you didn't have to deal with Mulgada. But once you flipped the script and brought Mulgada in and it went sideways, now you were no longer his guy. Now you were just a player with an agent and he was done with you. At that moment, it was over. So no, he wasn't going to call you. Goody, on the other hand, this is something interesting too. So you're Brian Gutekunst. You make the trade for Kenny Clark, right? Or trade for Micah Parsons. Who do you call first? Do you call the guy that you're trading? Or do you call the guy that you're trading for? Who should that general manager call first?
Call the guy you're trading, the guy that's on your team, the guy that's already been in your office, the guy that you have a relationship with already, and then you can call the guy you're trading for.
That's not what Goody did. Goody called Micah Parsons first and then called Kenny Clark. Never been in that situation. Have no idea the way it's done around the rest of the National Football League. Not trying to make Goody look like a bad guy. But if you think about it, as you're listening right now to the show, which one would you have done have you been Goody? I'm with you. I think you call Kenny Clark and be like, hey, dude, we just traded you. Blah, 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 blah. You're going to be headed to Dallas. And then if Kenny Clark goes, oh, really? For who? Then you could say, well, we haven't talked to him yet, but the deal is going to be for Micah Parsons. He's my next call, but I owed it to you to call you first. That's big props. That's good. Now, does he get props for letting Kenny Clark find out before he found out in social media or something? Absolutely. Goody deserves props for that. You can let the agent just tell him and not said anything. But clearly there was a respect level of some sort between Goody and Kenny Clark and Goody. And I think, if you're Kenny Clark, you're thinking maybe you retire in Green Bay. He was happy. He didn't want to leave. He had no interest in leaving. And then you read the story. He gets to Dallas and his wife and kids are still in Green Bay for a couple of weeks before they finally get to Dallas. This dude was Ubering everywhere that he had to go. He said the first day that they were all in Dallas, once his family got there and he had gotten a house and the whole deal, they literally just drove around all day checking out the city and everything else. And he quickly realized that he's a big snack guy and there are plenty of places around there that's going to make him very happy living in Dallas, Texas, which obviously, right? There's going to be more places to eat in Dallas and Green Bay. Not that food in Green Bay is bad. It's very good, but you're not going to have as many.
Just a little more sparse. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Exactly right. All right. So that's Micah there. Then Jerry Jones, he gets involved because he can't shut up about anything. He gets involved, and Jerry Jones talks about this whole idea of not talking to Micah Parsons about the trade.
Well, again, it's just not appropriate. What are we supposed to do when we're getting ready to play each other and all's it's at stake for him and all's at stake for our team and the Cowboys? And that's not appropriate to be visiting as you get ready to play. I know of very few people other than his family that have any more pleasant talks with Micah than I've had. And they'll be lasting. There was enough meat on the bones to make a lot of that last a long time. And anybody that doesn't think you can get a little ruffled up when you're negotiating over money doesn't understand human nature. That happens to everybody.
Yep.
And so for me, he's an outstanding young man. He played well tonight. And I thought we played well tonight. We played well against him tonight. And he played well against us. I know that it made it another point or punctuation point with us playing Green Bay for him to have been traded up there. But again, we didn't necessarily settle anything on the trade. But I like what we got, and I'm sure Green Bay likes what they got.
Did this feel like bigger than just one regular season game? I mean, just with so much going into it, so much talk. I know he had some emotions, and you had some emotions.
Personally, obviously, when the Cowboys play, nothing counts but to end up on the winning end of the score. And the tying is not what you're out there to play for and have it out there. But that is there. But from the standpoint of the interest in the game because of, let's say, the trade and the fact that Michael was a Cowboy, bottom line is this. I'm glad that brought an extra dimension of interest to the game. It sure was all the interest we wanted as far as anything we needed more than playing a team like Green Bay. That quarterback is special, but I like the way our quarterback played tonight.
There is Jerry Jones. He didn't come out and say, yeah, man, I wanted to beat them. Of course I did. I was waiting for it. Because if anybody's going to say something crazy like that, it's going to be him. Just to be honest. Yeah, I wanted to beat them. Of course I did. We didn't, but we didn't lose to them either now. Right? I mean, that's what I was waiting for him to say. We didn't beat them, but we didn't lose to them.
I don't know. I don't think it really mattered all that much based on what he said if they beat him or not. I think he was just happy that everybody was watching this game. That's basically what he said.
Marketing standpoint.
That's what he said at the end there.
And all that. Yeah.
I think that's all he cares about. And Ryan Clark said this on First Take last week, is that he does not care about the football side of things at all. He just likes that it's a good game and ends up bringing a lot of eyes to the screen. He couldn't care less if Michael was on that Packers team. It just helps that it brings more eyes to his team. He's just happy about it. That's crazy, man.
Yes, that is crazy. I absolutely. Crazy indeed about that. The question that we had was, and we haven't asked it, and we're way behind again. How much do you think Micah's return to Dallas factored into the result of this game? Quite a bit. I'm just telling you now, quite a bit. For multiple reasons. Number one, I'm sure there was, let's go win this for Kenny, right? Because Clark is in that locker room, got traded with 2 ones. It wasn't a straight up trade now. Traded with 2 ones from the team that he was at forever to get Micah Parsons. There's some of that. I'm sure that Jerry was down there jabbing his jaws and yelling and screaming whatever else. You better win this game. I'll cut all you. Right? I'm sure Jerry was fired up, wanting to get this whole thing done. And from a Packers perspective, I'm sure they wanted to get it done for Micah Parsons. I think it definitely impacted the game. If this game is played next year, a year removed, I don't think there's the emotions. I don't think there's as much of the talk necessarily. There's probably some talk, but not like there is, 4 weeks after, 5 weeks. Well, it's been more than that, but that late in the game to make that deal and then to go play it in Dallas, not in Green Bay, and then you have fans chanting, "Go Pack, go," and all of that. There's no question it impacted it. My issue is it didn't impact it the way that I wanted it to impact it. I wanted it to impact it the way where we get Dak Prescott. 5 sacks for the Green Bay Packers. And I didn't care who got him. It could have been Micah with 3, Kenny with 1, Van Ness with 1. Could have been Micah with 0, but we still get 5 sacks. You literally got him 1 time. And you could argue that probably shouldn't have been a sack. But either way, it was ruled a sack. That was the only time you got home. Rashawn Gary was out there the whole game. When I was paying attention to Rashawn Gary, now arguably not every play, I didn't see a lot of double teams on Rashawn Gary. I saw a lot of mano-a-mano and him not being able to beat an offensive lineman. That has to happen. Lucas Van Ness, who was the feel-good story through 3 weeks, where was his big play this week? That didn't happen. Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, Stackhouse ended up out there. He was a storyline earlier in training camp because Devontae Wyatt went out hurt. Where were their big plays? Where were their TFLs? Didn't see any of that stuff. Adrian Cooper
leads the league in total yards past the line of scrimmage that he allows people, only 0.5 yards past the scrimmage on tackles that he makes.
But he misses too many.
Mm-hmm. And this game, he just was not a factor enough.
Quay Walker was.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about this last night on the Green Bay football postgame show. Tommy Wirtz brought it up. And that was, hey, man, Quay Walker has outplayed Edgerrin Cooper in 4 weeks. Every week, Quay Walker has done positive stuff.
I wouldn't go as far as to say he's completely outplayed him. I would say he's more consistent than Edgerrin Cooper. I think Edgerrin Cooper's highs are much higher than Quay Walker's highs. And I think there's points in the season where you've seen
That's
that.
fair.
Again, he's one of the leading tacklers in the league.
Yeah.
He's done really good at stopping guys at the line of scrimmage and not letting guys get past him. But like you said, his lows are a lot lower than Quay Walker's too right now.
Yeah, no doubt. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sports Books. And if you love Wendy's classic chocolate and vanilla frosty flavors, there is some big news, right? All new Frosty Swirls and now Frosty Fusions. It's the same creamy treat you've always loved, now with a flavor refresh. So what are these new flavors? Okay, they've got the Frosty Swirl, strawberry, brownie batter, and caramel, and the Frosty Fusions, Oreo brownie, caramel crunch, and Pop-Tart strawberry. So clock in for sweet treat time with Wendy's all new Frosty flavors. A refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's. Jordan Love. Oh, how well you played. 3 touchdowns. What was it? 337 that he threw for in the air. Romeo Dobbs, clearly teacher's pet in that game yesterday. Again, no surprise there. Charlie Usen, on the other hand, said, oh, just wait a minute now. Did he really play as well as you're making him out to be, Sparky? We'll talk about that next.
Love got to have at least 6. Puts it up. It is double caught and a first down. Matthew Golden able to hang on. 38-yard line.
Was not double caught. It was not double caught. They showed the replay. It was as clean as it possibly could come from Matthew Golden. Love you, Mike Tirico. Still one of my favorites. But yeah, it was not double caught. But still, big plays when he needed them. Jordan Love was able to get the job done at the end of the day. That was the biggest thing. We're not going to have time to get in this Jordan Love topic, so that's going to have to wait to the next top of the next hour. Let's get a couple chat remarks in from YouTube because we only got a couple minutes left here. What do you got?
If we head over there, our leader of the dugout, Anton, says, I think they are only good as they are coached. I think mentally they are not prepared. This is not a one-off. Under Matt LaFleur, this seems like the same thing, different year.
Well, Anton, I know you're a Brewers fan. Let's hope it's not same old Brewers in the playoffs this year where they get bounced right away after having a great regular season. It was brought up last night by, of all people, Kay, texting me. And then somebody brought it up when they called into the show as well. I'm like, Tommy, look at this. Yeah, I'll show you my text. It's right here. And she said that this team is playing down to the level of their competition like the Bucks always do. That was the remark.
Like the Brewers were doing in the first half of the season this year.
Brewers too. Right. And see, it's harder for basketball and baseball because there's so many more games. And for football, you don't ever want to lose to a bad team. Chargers did. They hadn't lost a game. They lost to the damn Giants. So it's not end of the world that you lose to Cleveland. But the Cowboys, with as bad as they've been, like that one just hurts so much. And on top of that, it literally was by the end, whole fourth quarter and overtime, we're sitting here watching the game. Tommy and I getting ready to do the Green Bay football postgame show. I was like, I don't want McManus to take any more kicks. I don't. If this comes down to a field goal, we're screwed. I do not want a field goal. And it wasn't that I didn't trust McManus. I trust McManus to kick a kick from anywhere on the field. I totally trust Brandon McManus. I didn't trust the dudes that were protecting him. That's where my issue was. And again, repeat offender, Luke Musgrave strikes again. Last week, they got away with it and they got the kickoff. And Larry McGarren literally said, oh boy, that was close. I hope they do a better job next time. They did. Tucker Kraft was out there, and then Tucker Kraft got beat. And then last night, Musgrave screwed up again. And nobody, listen, they were asking great questions last night. My question, if I was there, would have been, at what point do you discuss changing personnel on the field goal protect unit to shore up these issues that you're having? At what point does that happen? That would have been my question. That's what I'd like to know going into this thing. All right, got to take a quick timeout. Come back on the other side. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next, we'll talk more about Jordan Love. Did he play well, or was there something else at work? That's straight ahead.